Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for April the 14th, 2010. Now our first position for tonight, actually multiple positions for tonight, we're going to be looking at somewhat of a contrarian view. Now looking at the gold contracts, the continuous contracts here from Vantage Point, we're going to actually be looking to take short positions on or about the predicted high. Now we've closed at 1152.80. We can see that the predicted 3-day moving average from Vantage Point comes in at 1154.80. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you what I'm looking at using the Vantage Point software. Now again, this type of indicator can only be found on the Vantage Point program. We've got this short-term crossover that's taken place right here to the downside. What we're going to do is take this as an early warning sign that gold is getting ready to move lower. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to add the predicted true strength indicator from, again, this indicator can only be found on the Vantage Point software. Now looking at this, we can see that the trigger is completely out in orbit here. It's so overbought that this thing is screaming for a correction. Now with that said, I'm also going to apply the predicted MACD and see what it's got to say. Now looking at the predicted MACD, well, that's not quite as clear of an indicator, but this predicted TSI from Vantage Point, along with that short-term crossover from Vantage Point, which is about to take place right here, all suggest to me that gold contracts are actually going to get ready probably for a corrective move lower. So with that said, let's go into our predicted high and our predicted low for tomorrow and see where we can get into a short position on these gold continuous futures contracts. So looking at tomorrow here, that short-term indicator also confirmed, the neural index confirming that. We've had these multiple days with the neural index being at 1, which is suggesting it's going to move higher. We've now turned negative. So 1158.60 is the predicted high, 1148.40 is the predicted low, with the predicted short-term differences also turning negative. So with that, we're going to be looking for a move towards this 1158.60 to set the short positions in gold, and then we're going to be looking for an approximately $10 move to the downside right around this 1148.40, potentially even lower. Now we've also got this close here at 1152.80. I would have liked to have seen a close a little bit lower than that. However, on any strength higher for tomorrow or later this evening, we're going to be looking for that to set again short positions. Now that's our first position. Our second position is going to be in the Forex market. Now our second position, respecting the fact that we think that those equities are going to, or excuse me, that those commodity prices, specifically gold, are going to move lower, we're going to take a little bit of an advantage on a contrarian position here also on the Australia US dollar. Now with a high correlation the Aussie has to gold, we're going to use that to set some short positions here. So 92.82, 92.61, 92.14 are three areas of currently pivot support. However, we've closed at 92.79. Now let's go into the predicted high and predicted low for tomorrow and see what Vantage Point is saying we're going to have. Now again, very high, Australian dollar has a very high correlation to these metals. We've seen that the metals are turning lower. We've got a neural index pointing down on the Aussie US dollar with a predicted high of 93.07. So that's what we're going to be doing, using that predicted high to set those contrarian short positions, and then we're going to look for a move back towards the 92.39, 92.14 area. So we're going to try and capture, 60, 70, 80 pips here, which is a pretty good move. So now what I want to do here also is I want to put the Australian dollar up right up against the gold contract so everybody can see this. Very, very interesting what I'm about to show you. Now looking at this, we can see that the correlation to the Australian dollar and the gold futures contracts is just about 100%. Now this crossover right here that's taken place where Australia US tried to break lower, gold actually did break lower, but as the Aussie dollar continued to move higher, we can see here that gold clearly followed it. So this correlation is extremely high. Now let's take these properties, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this short-term crossover, and now we're going to put them side by side so everybody can see this. Now looking at this short-term crossover from Vantage Point on the gold contracts and on the Australia US dollar, we can see that they're both getting ready. Gold, Australia US has already crossed over to the downside, and gold is getting ready to follow. So again, using the software and the multiple indicators that we have that we can only get on the Vantage Point software, we're going to use this and the correlation to the other markets to get into some of these other positions. Now again, looking at the gold and the Australian dollar, we have to also be very cautious because the correlation is so high. We're getting into contrarian positions here. We're looking into sell into a little bit of final strength, and then we're going to be looking for a corrective move lower on both. Very cautious if you're trading both at the same time because of this correlation. Now, we've hit on the currency markets and we've also hit on the commodity markets. We're now going to go and have a quick look at the equity markets. Now again, with the SP 500 being one of the most actively traded indices, we're going to identify pivot support here: 1173.38, 1184.64, and 1191.04. Now, the S&P 500 is almost like the Euro US in the Forex market. It's one of the heaviest traded global indices, so it's certainly something we look at on a daily basis. Now we have 1198.13 and 1187.37 is our low. Now we're again going to be looking to get into buy positions. Now with this, again, 1187.37, very similar. This predicted low is very similar to what it was recommended today. We didn't quite get that pullback today. We got very close to that. So we're going to be looking for that area again tomorrow to get into this 1137, 1188 area is where we would like to get into these buy positions. Now again, looking at the multiple indicators from Vantage Point, I'm going to quickly go in here. Look at the predicted TSI. We're going to add the predicted TSI and the predicted RSI from Vantage Point. Again, these indicators are only on the Vantage Point software. We've got the predicted RSI in heavily overbought territory. The predicted TSI is actually running flat, also in overbought territory. But again, any pullback, we're going to be using that to get into further long positions with what I would expect would be a sustained break of that 1200 mark in the days and weeks ahead. So those are the market positions for April the 14th, 2010. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.